Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
What is a dirty little secret about an industry that you have worked in that people outside the industry really should know? They put little weights in lipsticks to make them feel more expensive so they can charge more. Same for Beats headphones. Same for winning fishing tournaments. Reminder kids, always read the Oz on beauty products to know what you're actually paying for. Lipstick bullets all contain about the same amount of product. The extra weight is added to make the packaging feel heavier, implying better materials. And if you think the packaging is higher quality, you assume the product it contains is also higher quality. Nobody who actually sorts mail gives a shit about your package. The word fragile doesn't stop them from throwing it 20 feet into a metal container. It's really fun to pay $145 extra for hazmat shipping and see this box with explosive in big letters on the side show up at your front door with a big dent in the corner. My line once had brown lines start coming down our belts. Boxes covered in dark brown substance. No one wanted to touch the boxes. It was so bad that one of the big bosses was running from line to line telling everyone that it's just chocolate icing from a spilled Dunkin' Donuts tub. They never come down unless it is horrible, so that was pretty fucking funny. Great night all around. Most of the time the fragile sticker is to cover the cost of the item in case the deliver guy breaks it, or the shipping company will shrug and won't pay you because it was not properly packaged. If it's the first time a professor is teaching a course, there is a good chance they are just one lecture ahead of the rest of the class. And we usually vastly overestimate what's reasonable for people to understand in the course, so the first few years are usually harder, with the final exam marks significantly massaged while we cut out the portions of the course that are too difficult. One hidden part of being a tar is reminding the professor what it's like to be a student. I remember when my professor gave me his draft of the final exam beforehand to proofread. Those kids will never know how much I did for them, but I must have saved them like 20% of their final average. When the health inspector shows up, a mad scramble happens in the back to clean the kitchen while they start the inspection in the dining per bar area of the restaurant. Yup. One manager will hold the health inspector up in the front of house while back of house is busy labeling and making sure minor violations they visibly see are dealt with. Truer words have never been typed. Lol, send out the king or queen of small talk and people skills. While the back of the house tosses anything that isn't temping correctly and runs ribbons of labeling to the walk-in to make sure it's all labeled. I feel like the assumption is probably that if you can get things presentable in that amount of time and know what needs done, it probably isn't that big of a concern. If you can't, then there are probably bigger problems to find. Sometimes you have 10 seconds, maybe tops. I know at least one current health inspector who starts almost every restaurant inspection at the back of house for this exact reason. He doesn't break stride for anyone. Just says hi while walking into the back straight away. Also, most people can remember a few hide this things. No one can remember EVERY. Hide this thing once too many build up. I used to work for Autoclaw and so went into just about every restaurant in the city to climb under the dishwasher. Everyone has roaches, mice, and rats. What does get me is the amount of first-generation run ethnic food places that you see some dude prepping fish crouched on a concrete floor while smoking a cigarette. Seriously, some of the cleanest kitchens are some of the chain joints. Having procedures, checklists, and documentation of tasks makes it easier to make sure tasks get done. Chains usually have that stuff in place where mom and pops often, but not always, don't. Microsoft Excel runs the country. So much so that Kelly Rowland once used it in a music video to try to text someone. Microsoft Excel runs the entire global financial industry. Yes. The liquidity and balance sheet of dollar trillions of banks is all calculated and held in macro-ridden Office 97 Excel sheets that sit on somebody's desktop computer, with links to at least 100 other spreadsheets stored randomly all over the network, which in turn link back to the current spreadsheet. Locksmith here. We can get into any lock door within 30 seconds. All the posturing and bringing out our impressive toolkit and hammer drill is just showmanship to pro. Long the call out. 30 seconds flat. I'll never forget when my neighbor in London locked herself out. We waited for a locksmith to come over. He literally opened the car door, looked at the neighbor's front door from a distance for about 2 seconds, then pulled out a long bent rod, walked to the door, stuck it through the letterbox, maneuvered it around for a couple of seconds, and the door was open. He undid the bolt from the inside. 100 quid, 15 seconds of work. But you don't pay for the 15 seconds. You pay for the decade of practice required to do the job in 15 seconds. 100 quid, 15 seconds of work. But you don't pay for the 15 seconds. You pay for the decade of practice required to do the job in 15 seconds. That's how repair works. 10 cents for thumping it. $100 for knowing how not to thump it wrong and break it worse. 30 seconds. Lock-picking lawyer could have done it twice to make sure it wasn't a fluke in that time. I got into lock-picking because of him. I was practicing on a padlock one day and my girlfriend asked if I could open the front door locks. I never tried them before. I was both impressed with myself, but scared shitless at how quick it was. When an app pops up with a, "Do you like this app?" thing, the yes button goes to the App Store for a review. The no button goes to an internal complaint process. This on average filters upset customers away from the App Store and artificially raises app score by a whole star on average. That is the only way most corporate service apps have 4 stars. Long time ago the company I worked for would only show this pop-up if we detected things were going well in the app, no errors, etc. So even seeing the prompt in the first place is already biased towards people who are likely to rate positive. Not quite the same, but one of the silly gacha games I play hits me with the review us quote pop-up every time I get a 5-star character. Literally every single time. And they're running an anniversary event right now that makes it rain 5 stars, so it's even more obvious. Lol.